Step in the ring, feel the adrenaline rush, throwing fists and kicks, the pain we can't hush. And then they find us, we're the real tough guys, breaking down barriers, we aim for the skies. Into the octagon, like a warrior I stand, trading blows, taking hits as I command. The art of combat, I'm ready to go. Submission, knockout, that's how I flow. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling with my golden octagon. The stage we ignite. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling like a golden octagon. The stage we ignite.
And we are live. Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast with your hosts, Matt and D Rose.
You're on mute.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. My name is Matt. D Rose is on that side of the screen, and you see right back here, Pick Champ back here shining bright today. Couldn't be brighter. I'm happy about it. Coming off a winning weekend this past weekend, D Rose, it feels good because it's been a little bit, man. And man, if I wasn't spot on like the prelims to this past weekend, dude, I don't know what else to call it because, dude, I was like dead on all the prelims. And thankfully, I wasn't a big dummy and only made 13 leggers this past weekend. And, I actually cashed. So I'm happy. Sorry you lost the Pick Champ, but the people will be excited for D Rose's 3 bean eating this week. So not 1, not 2, clean sweep, 3 beans. How you doing today, man?
Not looking forward to that. So definitely not in the best of moods, but we're doing all right, man. I'm actually off on Wednesdays. So I know Dave said crazy to see I'm out of work early, but no, I'm actually off on Wednesdays,
Yeah.
and unless I have something working or whatever, I take my days off when I get my days off, man. I'm not trying to burn myself out too much. So, but no, just been relaxing. Ended up getting the little blow-up pool out there. Was out there with the kids for a couple hours in it, just messing around, and came in, got some lunch, and been relaxing. So been a good day.
Cool. Yeah. Myself, I've been trying to get my house ready to sell all day, dude. So I'm kind of beat up, just taking stuff down, cleaning up. And then I went to dinner. Well, I actually went to Home Depot and to GameStop. And then stopped by Wendy's on the way back, and then I got stopped by a train, and it's like 5:30, and I'm like, I got the podcast in a half hour, and then I get here, and then you're having issues too. So technical difficulties, a little bit, you guys. We apologize. We're still about 2 hours and 15 minutes earlier than what we normally are. So appreciate you guys for stopping by here a little bit early tonight. Let's get into the chat. We got Dave in here. We on that early flow today. Indeed. We got Antoine. Let's get it. Clock out of my side hustle in 25 minutes. You're almost out of there, Antoine. Dave asking Austin, he hasn't got time to get blitz yet. Dave said he's just getting off of work. Oh, man. I like how D-Rose out of work early, pushing the shit out of those Kias. They basically sell themselves, right? I thought it was Tuesday. Oh, no. Addict's getting to me. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm sorry, man. It's Wednesday, brother. It's still Wednesday. All right. D-Rose, with that being said, everyone, you don't know how the show works. We are going to recap UFC 318 real quick. D-Rose is going to be eating some Bean Boozled because he had clean swept three of them this week. We got some UFC news and fight announcements, and then we'll be making our preview picks and predictions for this upcoming weekend's fights in Abu Dhabi. They're going to be at noon Eastern time. We got Rob Whittaker versus Ranier de Ritter in the main event, and then we'll give you the fisting of the week. So that is where we're going to start at right here, is the fisting of the week from this past weekend before we get into UFC 318. And man, did it cash, D-Rose. The fisting of the week this past weekend was Ateba Gaudier to fist Robert Valentine. And I'm just going to pass to D-Rose. I'm going to let D-Rose break it down as to what happened this past weekend to Robert Valentine.
Yeah, it was funny because we were talking about it, and I made the joke last week about saying, hey, he's going to wave him on. He's going to wave Gautier on. And by golly, did he not end up waving him on to come get some concussion shots, man. It's like he's like, oh, more concussion, please. Poof, 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 and just getting teed off on. Like, I don't understand what it is with Ateba Gautier that for some reason he hits people and people think like, oh yeah, come and hit me again. Okay, boom, and then he ends up putting them out. So it's like, why wave him on? Do not continue to wave him on, because you will eat more concussion shots when you do that. So yeah. do not tempt him, because he will do it.
Yeah, dude. He said he's back to training, ready to go, because this is what he loves. This is so much better than what he used to do in Cameroon. So good luck to anyone fighting this dude. Who's next, D-Rose? Cody Brundage?
Yeah, and honestly, I feel very good about Gautier. I don't bet a Cody Brundage fight at all, but yes, I am going to go Gautier first round finish on that one, and I feel damn good about it. Just because Brundage is you know how I feel about him. So
yeah, indeed. Dave said I liked Valentine on Tough, but my man, this dude on Tough, he was good, man. He was fun. He was interesting. He came out there, threw the elbow, knocked the dude out. But it seems like now, dude, it's just like the UFC seems to hate him or something. They're giving him the worst matchups. I don't know. They've got to give him at least one fun one before they, cut him, right? They have to.
Hey, you got to earn his spot, man. I mean, if he can upset any of these, young up and comers, he's got some experience on his side.
Yeah.
He's got to earn his spot. Certain people in the UFC have like roles. You know what I mean? And we know Neil Magny's role. We know he's a gatekeeper. Robert Valentine has his role of fighting the new up and comers until he can get past that point. But until then, that's where he's at.
Fair enough. So let's get into the rest of the card. Starting off with the main event, Max versus Dustin. Max does win via decision, dude. Fun fight. We have to give Dustin his flowers, though, dude. I think that's truly the best way stuff could have ended, because I feel like if he won, then maybe UFC, like as you said, maybe UFC tries to call him back to fight Ilya. Maybe he wants to fight Ilya, and it's just like all this build up for it not to be a retirement, for you to come back. So I almost feel like how things worked out was perfect for Dustin's retirement. No, he didn't win, but that kind of summarizes Dustin's career, dude. In that last fight, he didn't always win, dude, but he was always in a fun fight. He's a dog, down to go in there and throw. I will say the last 10 seconds of him, not the best look in the world, but it is what it is. But shout out that fight as a whole, dude. I was big fan of the fight, but to me, what stood out in that fight the most was Max at 155, which is what I was basically saying going into it. Max is a different fighter at 155. He seems he's for sure bigger. His footwork and speed is still there, though. So got knockout power and size now, and I just think that showed up at 155. And I am echoing just a little bit, D-Rose.
Fix my setting.
Let's see here. See what you guys got to say. Oh, that's even worse. I can hear myself very clearly now. You should probably just take your computer away from your microphone. Just bring your mic closer to yourself. Anyway, we got DK Displays. What's up, man? How you doing? I'm here, boys. Had to ship out my package early. All right. Let's see. We got Dixon in here. UFC and Top's really dropping the ball by not releasing Feet Edition on their cards. Imagine getting Alexa Grasso where she's wearing a pinky toe ring on her baby. All right. Truly depressing to see DP go out on a loss, but it was cool to see Max give me his respect. Yeah, man. Let's see. Did he just fight an old Dustin, or does Max really? I think Max is a different animal. Like at 155. Max he was supposed to die for Nico Price. I can still hear myself a little bit, but it's okay, dude. Euros. I'm not really worried about it too much. Classic way to get jumped by Gilly instead of strikes. Yep. All right, D-Rose. What's your thoughts on the main event, man?
Man, yeah, of course, I wanted Dustin to go out on a win. And, I thought there were moments in there where he could have. And, dude, if he had a cinched that guillotine there in the second round, man, that would have been – you want to talk about the perfect send-off. Like, I know everybody says, like, now, the perfect send-off is the way it went. But, man, the perfect send-off really would have been if he had nailed that guillotine, for the first time in his career – to get the guillotine submission there. I couldn't even blame him for going for it. Some people were like, oh, he should have just kept going for punches. Max really wasn't hurt like that anyway. So I don't know if like one punch would have put him out versus, hey, maybe a surprise guillotine, there with the last 12 seconds, maybe Dustin could lock it in and get the choke. So I wasn't mad about Poirier going for that, but I think, Poirier even admitted after the fight, like maybe there were moments in there where he would normally stand in the pocket and exchange a little bit more. He wasn't as willing to do that, and it was almost like he was kind of trying to preserve himself, knowing that this is his retirement fight. And although he did want to get into a dogfight, he didn't want to be put on a poster or put on a highlight reel, at the end of the fight. So he kind of fought like that to a certain extent, but a lot of it was due to Max, hurting him more than he did in their first two fights. I thought Max, hurt him in the first round. I thought that, really had Dustin, kind of hesitant for most of the fight. And, Max's power does carry up well. Looks like he's well filled out for the division. And the big thing too is that his speed is still there. That was my biggest concern was him, coming up to 55 consistently. Is his speed going to be able to carry? And it looks like it has. So yeah, he's going to be, definitely a problem for a lot of guys up at 155. I'd love to see Max versus Charles next for the BMF. That'd be a fun fight. I'd love to see. I don't want to see Max fight for the title just yet, especially because it's Ilya. He just got snoozed by Ilya not too long ago. But I think if you put Charles and Max as a fight that kind of technically didn't happen, and it would make sense. You're on mute.
Sorry. DP must not have had showman money to make just must have been a flat rate to fight. I don't know. Possibly. I'm not going to act like I know, though. Moving on down to the co-main event. Paulo Costa, Roman Kapilov, dude. This truly went exactly how I thought it was going to go. I mean, I don't want to say this is exactly how I thought, but I thought Paulo was going to come on early too and then win the first two, and then Kapilov tends to gas in the third, so I thought he was probably going to win the third as well. I'm not sure if any of the judges even gave Roman Kapilov any of the rounds, but I did pick Paulo Costa to win that via decision, and that's what happened, dude. And it looks like the old Paulo Costa might be back. He was aggressive, dude, coming out there, winging body kicks. Looked like they have 3-round cardio for sure, or Roman Kapilov just looked like ass altogether, dude. What's his game plan? Because he just went in there and just pretty much stood in the middle of the octagon and just let Paulo Costa beat him up, dude. What's your thoughts on the co-main event, dude?
Yeah, and for that fight, it was the reason why I wasn't so confident in Roman Kapilov, and I did not bet him at all because I was very hesitant in him. And Paulo Costa, the level of competition, he has fought a lot tougher competition, but he's even admitted himself at certain times, he can be a little bit in I think you had said it last week as well. He can be a little bit of a head case. Like he gets in his own head sometimes and, loses confidence and stuff like that. And he had even made comments after the fight stating that, his confidence still isn't all the way back to what it was at one point, but he's getting it back slowly but surely. So you could see a little bit of that old Paulo show up, but he was definitely a little bit more measured. I would say the old Paulo was, he would kind of walk through danger or whatever just to land the shots that he wanted. I thought he was a lot more technical in this fight, was looking to land counter shots. I really think, honestly, Roman Kapilov, once he got hurt in the first round, I don't know if he ever got his bearings back, because it just looked like he was kind of very hesitant, or I don't want to say kind of. He was very hesitant, for basically the rest of the fight on after he got dropped in the first round, and Paulo kind of did his thing. So it was a good win for Paulo Costa to get back on track.
Hell yeah, man. Moving on down to one that burned everyone and their mother that bet on fights this past weekend was Kevin Holland, dude, versus D-Rod. D-Rod wins via decision. I can't say I hate the decision because truly it could have gone either way. Did I think Kevin won? Yes, but did I bet Kevin? Yeah. First round, D-Rod drops Kevin. Looks terrible, dude, but it's almost I don't know. Do you think maybe Kevin had some kind of concussion during training camp or something like that, dude? Because we've seen Kevin eat shots so much from everyone and not phase, but D-Rod hits him, which is not a big power puncher by any means, and drops Kevin Holland twice in the first round. It was almost like fucking D-Rod had nickels in his fucking glove, just a rolling nickels in each one of his hands, because he was knocking Kevin Holland all over the octagon in the first round. But I think D-Rod maybe kind of gassed out because later on in that second, dude, and especially the third round, dude, Kevin Holland comes back in the third, face plants D-Rod. I don't know how the fight's not stopped. Oh, wait. Yeah, dude, because was Jason Herzog refereeing that fight?
I believe so.
I believe so. And it's like, Jesus Christ, Herzog, can we please? Dude, me and you both are yelling, stop it. Stop it. Wait, is this when you got kicked out? I think I was just there, just yelling, come on, dude. I mean, come on, Kevin Holland, come on, he's gonna finish him. And then just Herzog just never fucking stopped it, dude.
Yeah, when I jumped back in was when he was trying to lock in the subs. So that's why I was like, sub him, because I needed Kevin Holland submission for my former parlay. Dude,
that was such a heart racing fight there at the end, dude. Especially for everyone that needed Kevin Holland to win. Just tough. But D-Rod does win via decision, and I can't hate it. What about you, man?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I can't hate it either because, I've always loved me some D-Rod. And I thought that, especially, he had the Gastelum loss, which it was supposed to be at 170. And the Gastelum basically was like, yeah, I'm not cutting weight. We're fighting at 185. And didn't say it until basically 2 days before the fight. He had the whole scramble up with, he was supposed to fight Kevin Holland on the Hamzat Diaz card. Then he ends up getting flipped to fight Li Jingliang and all this stuff. And, D-Rod's kind of been dealt a couple losses here recently. So, for him to kind of get back on track and, now he's 3 fights in a row that I think he's won. So, yeah, D-Rod looks good, man. That power. We have not seen Kevin Holland hurt like that. I said that Saturday as well, that I've never seen Kevin Holland hurt, dropped, rocked in the way that he was. And, dude, D-Rod looked good, but that was a hell of a fight, man. For Kevin Holland to get back into it the way that he did, and he I know he made comments after the fight stating that D-Rod was a little bit slippery, after the fight, that I guess where he couldn't lock in the sub. But I mean, to be fair, Kevin Holland was probably, I'm sure he was a little bit ringed up by the time. I don't want to say he was concussed, but he was a little bit ringed up by the time that he was trying to lock in those subs and maybe couldn't lock it in all the way due to him being just purely exhausted from being in a dogfight. I was surprised that they didn't stop it when Kevin Holland was landing those little short uppercuts and dropping D-Rod. But, dude, for D-Rod to still stay in it and then get top position at the end of the fight and almost get the stoppage himself was it was just an embodiment of the whole fight. And for that fight, the main event was good. Vittori versus Allen, okay, we'll talk about it. But for Kevin Holland versus D-Rod to not get fight of the night is blasphemous, dude. That's crazy because that was fight of the night. We've been saying this a lot here lately, but this is going to be a contender for a fight of the year for sure. Like that, it was that type of fight.
Yeah, I was actually gonna bring up Antoine's comment, like when I asked you, like, not only does the main event not get it, this fight doesn't get it, but the one that does get it, let's just go ahead and just talk about it for just a second. Was Brendan Allen and Marvin Vettori, dude? Like, what? That was what got fight of the night? Seriously, man. Like, we just saw Brendan Allen just box up fucking Marvin Vettori while he was just running face first into the punches all 3 rounds, man. I really don't see how that got fight of the night at all, to be honest. What's your thoughts on the actual fight of the night?
I now thought it was a good scrap. Like, I'm not going to say it wasn't a good fight because they did pretty much stand the whole time. I mean, even in the first round, I will say the grappling sequences, Brendan Allen got the takedown pretty easy against Vettori, which surprised me. But then Vettori was able to, kind of reverse position, and Brendan Allen getting a little bit too overzealous with that rear naked choke. And then Marvin Vettori ends up getting the back, and trying to get a submission in himself. And then they just end up scrapping it out for the rest of the first round. And then pretty much the rest of the fight. So it was a good fight. I'm not going to say it wasn't. Was it fight of the night? No, because there were 2 other fights on the main card that were better. And yeah, the way that I looked at it was that maybe they're trying to throw Marvin Vettori a bone, with his brother, passing during camp and stuff like that. Maybe they're just trying to throw him a little extra, it may be like a sympathy thing. I don't want to make it seem like it's like a charity thing or whatever, but that's the only justification I could think as the why that got fight of the night versus Holland and D-Rod or the main event.
Yeah, dude. I don't get it even one single bit, dude. But it's all right. Let's move on down past D-Rod versus Kevin Holland. Talk about Dan Ige versus Pitbull. Another one that burned everyone, dude. What was this fight? Like, Pitbull's first fight in the UFC refuses to shoot even one takedown against Yair Rodriguez. And this fight comes in here looking like he's a Dagestani, dude. I can't get Pitbull, I guess, because coming in, I was like, okay, he's just washed. And then I think we talked about it last week that, we think he's just a little bit older now. Probably, I mean, he for sure, like a little bit older. He's for sure past his prime, and we weren't sure if he was washed yet or not, but comes in here, beats Dan Ige, and it's almost like Dan Ige, it's like he'll get a good run going, and then he'll just lose to someone that he shouldn't lose to. Like, not even really like a step up, really. It's just like, you shouldn't have, like, first of all, why'd you even take that fight? And second of all, how'd you lose to them? Like, it keeps happening like the Dan Ige, so it's not really too surprising, but burned a lot of my bets, probably burned your bets, burned everyone's bets. Pitbull wins via decision. What's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid fight. A lot of people are saying this wasn't a good fight. I thought it was a pretty good fight. I mean, they scrapped it out. I thought that Dan Ige, he just started slow. I thought that was a big thing, was that, he started the fight slow. He almost kind of didn't get going until the second round. When we were watching the fight, I was like, okay, Dan Ige is getting back into the fight in the second round. And then it was almost kind of like the Roman Kapilov thing, where he got, it was almost kind of like the same punch, kind of countering a jab Pitbull did. And he was able to land over the top of that right hand against Dan Ige. Drop Dan Ige. And we normally don't see Dan Ige get hurt like that, but man, Pitbull had him hurt pretty bad and almost had him out of there in the second. And then I thought the rest of the fight, Dan Ige was just very hesitant to get in there, because normally he's willing to go in there and scrap and willing to take one to give one. Look how he got Sean Woodson out of there. He was countering Sean Woodson's uppercut with an overhand right of his own. We didn't really see that aggression from Dan Ige in this fight, and I don't know if he was taking the fight for a paycheck or whatever the case may be, but just didn't fight with that same fire that we're used to seeing with But to Pitbull's credit, he did look good, and his striking looked a lot better. He was wrestling a little bit more, so still shows that he still got it a little bit. But I was definitely disappointed in Ige because, as you said, a lot of people were pretty high on him going into the week.
Yeah, man. I don't know how Ige can bang it out with Lopez on 3 hours notice, but get smoked by geriatric Pitbull. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Danny Ige, dude. Tough fighter to get right for sure. And then we got.
I'm definitely not betting any of his fights anymore. Like the only thing that I'll do, the only thing I can do is take the over. That's the only thing I will bet. Like,
and then even still, it's like shit, dude. He's got that thumping power that he could put anyone out in the first too, though.
If he's fighting somebody who normally has pretty good defense, like a Pitbull or even like a Sean Woodson, like start round 3 is not going to be a bad decision.
Gotcha.
I'll down that hill.
Fair enough. Moving on down, we got Michael Johnson taking on Daniel Zellhuber, and yeah, man, for fights burning people, it was Kevin Holland, it was Dan Ige, and it was Daniel Zellhuber. So those 3 fights right in a row just tore up everyone's tickets, dude, because it's just 3 big favorites to lose, and you're like, what the hell is going on? Michael Johnson just, if I'm going to be honest, just is in Daniel Zellhuber's face, outboxing him all 3 rounds. Ends up dropping him once too. Yeah, like early in the first.
Yeah, hit him with a nice counter left and sat him on his wallet.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take your words away. From that point, it almost didn't seem like Daniel Zellhuber ever really got back in the fight. It was almost like he was just kind of scared to enter the fire again after getting dropped there. So Michael Johnson does win via decision. What's your thoughts on the fight as a whole?
Michael Johnson, the dog, man, biggest dog on the card, and
only person that can beat Ilya, dude.
Yeah, at this point, dude, he might be, dude. I mean, we know the hand speed. Hey, he's willing to go in there and scrap it out. Hey, who knows? Michael Johnson has that ability, though. He can beat anybody on his best day and lose to anybody on his worst day. That's the Michael Johnson story. But really, just kind of what I was hesitant on. Again, I didn't bet anything with Zellhuber. I didn't bet anything with the fight because I was worried about how it could have went. I would not have been surprised if Michael Johnson had gotten the finish in the first round. So I stayed, away from this fight. But I do think that Zellhuber, I don't want to say fraud check, but fraud check. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
it
ain't the first loss.
Yeah, because that's a couple now, man. I mean, I think Zellhuber is going to be a guy that, I know he's still young, he's still got time to build, but man, right now he's kind of shown that he's a guy that he can beat some guys who might not be quite ready for the UFC, but guys who got some experience, he tends to struggle with.
Yeah, Anton wants to know: do you think Eric Nixon got exposed 0-3? All he does is yell. I don't. The thing is, I think he's the head coach, Antoine. So, like the boxing coach over there is like Dewey Cooper. So I think all he does is like maybe game plan, like hold pads. So I think he's like the main coach. I don't know like exactly what he does. I think it's one to get fraud checked, but a certain place you have to win a certain fights. Yeah. I don't know, man. All right, going down to the prelims. Vinicius Oliveira, Kyler Phillips. Vinicius Oliveira walked forward like an animal all 3 rounds with his hands down, dude, and just threw at Kyler Phillips, dude. I felt bad for Kyler Phillips, but were we not spot on? Like, fighting Kyler Phillips probably going to win the first round, but after that first minute of the second round, he's cooked, and he might get knocked out in the third, which he did almost get knocked out in the third, but Kyler Phillips is tough, dude, but I think we've seen his ceiling, dude. We know he's a first round and a half fighter and don't really have shit past then. He's already been in the UFC for a while now, got popped for some shit a while back, and then now it's like, all right, you got called for some shit, so this is you off of that. Do you not have the cardio to go all 3? And if so, that's cool. But we know now. We know that Kyler Phillips can't go all 3, which means, if there's a fight especially when a fighter comes on late in the third or is just there all 3 rounds like Vinicius Oliveira, it's fade Kyler Phillips time. But, dude, Vinicius Oliveira is a fucking dog, dude. I don't have the video pulled up, but, shout out Loke, dog. Do we have a problem? Yes, we do. Called out Sean O'Malley after the fight, and then I guess someone got in his ear and was like, hey, man, you ain't getting that fight. And then he was like, I want to fight Cheeto Vera instead. So he called out Cheeto Vera too. So that one's more reasonable. He's not getting Sean O'Malley. What's your thoughts on Kyler Phillips versus Loke Dog?
Yeah, Loke Dog's that dude, man. Love that guy. I just love the energy that he brings to the fight. Him just walking hands down. Kyler Phillips did look good. Honestly, I'd say for the first 3.5 minutes. The first 3.5 minutes of that fight, I mean, it looked like he was a world beater. I mean, the way that his bounces, like he could bounce from one side of the octagon to the other. But once you start seeing that bounce stop and his feet start sliding, that's how you know he getting them legs getting a little bit burnt. He's getting a little tired. And if there's anybody who can kind of put that pressure on him, they can take advantage. And Loke Dog's that dude who can. He had him hurt in the second because I was puckered up there because I needed that fight to start the third round.
Yeah.
And I in the second round, that's when Phillips is kind of on skates, and I'm like, dude, just hang on, please. And thank goodness he did. And then in the third round, I did think that Phillips came back and was a little bit more feisty, fought back a little bit, but for the most part, I thought Low Dog pretty much dominated the fight, man. And that dude's gonna be a problem, man. I think he's gonna beat a lot, of guys. Will he?
No
be
defense.
I don't know, but I mean, yeah. But dude, the thing is, like, his defense, like, it almost kind of reminds me of MVP to a certain extent, except he's not as like bouncy because he's still like shoulder rolling a lot of the punches, and then with his hands down like that, when guys go to strike, he's ready for a counter at any time, at any moment. So it kind of reminds me of MVP. Of course, not as bouncy and shifty, but man, it's slick the way he does it, and he's a menace, man.
Yeah, but it's kind of like what we thought about Yuri when he first got in the UFC, dude. If he fights someone with power, dude, it might be a problem. Like if it's like Vinicius Oliveira versus Song Yadong, dude. That's a tough fight.
Song Yadong can hurt him.
You see what I'm saying?
But if Song Yadong doesn't hurt him, I love me some Song Yadong, but I know where his ceiling is at. I know where his ceiling is at as well.
I got you.
That's a winnable fight for Low Dog. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, it'd be fun, but just kind of seeing him get past the test like that would be something that I would want to see. Because, dude, with his hands down so much, it's like someone's eventually gonna crack you, dude. He's been cracked. That's the wild part. He's not undefeated. He's been finished.
Yeah. But he's a beast, man.
D-Rose loves Yadong.
Can't help it.
Indeed. I think they'll push him. He's a fun fighter. Indeed. Fight of the night was Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen. Whatever. The Three Stooges fight of the night. Dude, we need to have this. A fisting of the week and the Three Stooges two dorks of the week. And this would have been the fight where it was, dude, because it was Jason Herzog, Francisco Prado, and Nikolai Veretennikov in the octagon. It's like almost like fucking Jason Herzog just watching these two dorks like trip and fall over each other, dude. That fight was so terrible, dude. I did pick Veretennikov via decision, but I was not confident in it so much that I threw it off the picks of the week because I was like, shit, dude, either one of these could win, but I'm picking Veretennikov because he's the bigger fighter, belongs at 170, as where Prado is just lazy and doesn't want to cut down to 155. And that's the way the fight went, dude. I guess it was kind of back and forth here and there, but in the end, I thought Veretennikov was just the bigger guy, was more physical, and belongs at 170, as where Francisco Prado needs to, get his shit together, go back down to 155. What's your thoughts on the Three Stooges fight of the night?
Yeah, this is a very goofy fight, dude. Like I remember just watching it, like just being frustrated. I had no bets on it or anything, but I just remember watching it. And I was there in the third round, and even like I it's not often that like my opinion like is like spot on with the commentators, but dude, like DC like nailed it with Veritanic.
He was laughing.
Stuff. Yeah, and like going for the spinning stuff, and it's like DC was like going mad after a while. He was like, "Why are you going for the spinning stuff? You keep getting taken down once you miss the spinning stuff, and your jab and your teep and all your basic stuff is working. Just do that, and you'll win the fight. But instead, you're trying to do these wild spinning kicks when you're not even really that
wild gas too. Like wild gas. Like let's use the most energy while we're completely gassed.
Yeah, and while the basic stuff is working, it was just very goofy. And then Prado, I don't know what was up with him. He looked awful. I mean, he was obviously when he was getting takedowns, resting at certain moments. I am with you that, he needs to go back down to 155. He just doesn't look right at 170.
They might even cut him, dude.
Yeah, there could be a chance they do. He is very young, so he could get cut, maybe get some more experience and come back. But yeah, that was definitely a goofy fight.
Yeah, and we talked about the fisting of the week already versus that was Atiba Gaudier versus Rob Valentine. We don't need to talk about that again. Adam Fugitt versus Islam Dulikov. Another fisting that did happen, though, dude. Islam Dulikov fisted Adam Fugitt, dude. Thoughts on this one? 4 minutes and 6 seconds into the first round.
Dulikov's a beast, man. And for him to have a photo shoot scheduled for Monday following a fight
with like Guess or Gucci, one of those two.
Yeah, crazy. For him to have a fight scheduled and and then have a photo shoot scheduled for that following Monday, that's a confident dude. And he got out of there with his face clean, like just perfect performance, man. I did note how Adam Fugitt is a tough dude, but man, Dulikov, that dude can hit. And the crazy thing about it is, they talked about all the, I guess his parents apparently, like his family is very wealthy. I can't remember the exact background of all of them, but he comes from a pretty wealthy family. He is also a pretty wealthy guy, doing the photo shoots and stuff like that. And
got
being like
two Lambos, they said.
Yeah, owns two Lambos, and this guy is fighting just because he wants to, not because he has to, not because it's a way out. He's just badass at it and likes doing it. So yeah, that dude Dulitov's gonna be a problem, man. That dude, he's fun to watch.
Yeah, man. Jim Crute, Marcin Pragniao, Jim Crute, round 1 sub, spot on, Theros, caught it, check. Right, you weren't as confident in me this past weekend, but I know when it happened, you're like, God damn it, Matt was right again. Like that's 2 weeks in a row that he's just calling these fucking subs, because week before, dude, Walter Walker, dude, I knew it was coming. I just bet it with too many other things. But dude, the subs this past weekend, Jim Crute and Ryan Spann, called both of them, bet them those two together. I was so happy, man. What's your thoughts on Jim Crute, Marcin Pragniao?
Good for Jimmy Crute to finally get that win back, dude. Get that kind of monkey off his back, because he's been struggling for a little bit. Maybe you can maybe say Pragniao might be hitting the road at this point. He's really not that good, and
you just realized that.
Duh, but I mean, I truthfully think he's just been served up as like kind of like a bounce back for some of these guys, and at this point you can only be served up as a bounce back for so many times, and he has pulled off upsets at certain points. But yeah, I think the UFC could be done with Pragniao at this point. But good win for Jimmy Crute to get back on the winning track.
And what do you think about Ryan Spann, Lucas Dretsky? Another round 1 sub.
Yeah, Superman Spann back at it again. He always ends up. It's always like his back is against the wall. He's probably gonna get cut, and then he comes through with like a pretty spectacular win to like, oh yeah, this dude again. He's such a ticking time bomb. And it's either he's going to go or you're going to go. But somebody's going. And it doesn't matter who it's going to be. Somebody's going. And I guess at the end of the day, you do have to respect it about Ryan Spann. He's the ultimate killer be killed fighter. And this time he did the killing. So it was a good sub.
Yeah. Another sub that happened. Round 1, Bruno Ferreira, dude, over Jackson McVeigh. Yeah, dude. I think at the end of Change of Cheddar, I was like, something tells me Jackson McVeigh is going to win this fight just because his like sheer size. I didn't bet on him or, or anything like that. But the fight started, dude, and yeah, man. I don't even know, even after this fight, if I'm going to be picking Jackson McVay to win any fights in the UFC. Just not the best look against, I guess, legit competition, because in all of his fights that I've seen, he just came out there and just crushed these cans. And in this fight, he was come out here and was patient, and then he kind of got crushed himself. So not sure if that's his plan inside the UFC. I would like to maybe see him fight someone. I mean, it's not like Bruno Ferreira's at the top of the division, so it's who else is he going to fight at 185, really? So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens next with Jackson McVay. And then Crispy Carly Giudice gets the round 3 knockout over Nicole Cagliari, dude. Another head kick. What's your thoughts with all this?
Oh,
Wait,
no,
did she head
the
kick her?
knee to the body.
Yeah,
It was the like KO'd her with it, like almost kind of like.
Oh yeah, because I was like, she fucking knocked her out cold to the body. That's what I sent you. I was like, she's out cold to the body. Like it was like she was like lifeless, just like didn't even move, dude.
Yeah, well, I can understand. I mean, she probably couldn't bend because, like, her whole just middle section was just crushed. Yeah, Carly Giudice looks good, man. Crispy is the perfect fitting nickname because she looked good, dude. Those combos are flying. The boxing is nice. Takedown defense was on point too. Well, she got taken down a couple of times, but her get-ups were pretty good. But her takedowns, she stuffed a couple of them as well. So yeah, she looks good, man. And that knee to finish it off, she landed that knee multiple times, and it was only a matter of time. And Cagliari, you could tell she was getting a little gas there in the third. And just for Giudice to land it the way she did, picture perfect knee, man. That was a crispy knockout. And I can't wait to watch Carly Giudice in the future.
Man, coming off a Contender Series, I was like, dude, wait until she fights in the UFC. And then she like lost her first one. And then I'm like, dude, I don't care. I don't care if she lost, dude. She's good as fuck. And she came out here and like head kicks Yanessa Dubin, and then second finish in a row now, dude. She's gonna be a big ass favorite against her fucking next fight. Yeah, like against like a light person that she shouldn't really be that big of a favorite against.
It's going to depend on the competition because she could end up getting somebody who could be a little bit lower level or somebody making their first fight into the UFC. It's all going to depend on the matchup. But if you're talking about like moving her up maybe top 15-ish, then yeah, I don't know if the books are going to be so caught up on her just yet. But if she's fighting somebody who's entry level, I think she'll be, like you said, pretty decent favorite.
Fair enough. It's cool to see her build a record, 4-2 record. She's definitely better than that. Of course, Antoine. I think her fucking 2 losses were like split decision losses too. So let's move on to the fun part. D Rose on empty stomach tonight ain't got to be throwing up his dinner. I already ate my dinner, but I'm not the one eating beans this week, D Rose. So our different picks this past weekend. We had 4 of them, but we only used 3 of them. But I'm going to let you know all 4 of them anyway. It was Ryan Spann versus Lucas Dretsky. It was Nikolai Veretennikov versus Francisco Prado, Paulo Costa versus Roman Kapilov, and Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier, in which I went Ryan Spann, Nikolai Veretennikov, Paulo Costa, and Max Holloway, and D Rose went Lucas Dretsky, Francisco Prado, Roman Kapilov, and Dustin Poirier. So not only do you get clean swept, D Rose, you get even the fight that we threw off. You lost that one too. You got clean swept +1. So you got a 4 being. No, I'm just kidding. You're like,
hell no. What are you doing all that now? Chill.
Oh, goodness. It feels good, D Rose, because the week before you clean swept me, yeah? I think last week you clean swept me. Fair, I got 1 bad bean and 2 good beans. Yeah, that's because it was bullshit. It shouldn't have happened. Pick Champ is back over here where it belongs. I hope they give Dublin a layup. Like, why not do it for other fighters? That's fair. So, D-Rose, with that being said, let me find the music. The bean bop. The bean bop, they call it. Here we go.
It's the bean bop. It don't stop. Damn it. I wanted to stop. full spit. This ain't it. You know what? I'm gonna take it. We got a blue one. Let's go.
Yeah, you eat the good one first. That's smart. Is it toothpaste or is it blueberry? Yep.
Damn, that is strong.
Right? Like you're gonna wish that you had that one last because you're gonna get two bad ones now.
Damn, that's I feel like I haven't had that one in a while, dude. That was actually kind of strong.
I don't know, Antoine. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Damn, I'm gonna miss the beans. It's gonna be Booger, dude. I got the pear last week. It was pretty solid though. Let's see, Booger.
I'm gonna throw it to my cat right here. Let them eat it. No.
Booger, please, please give him the booger. Please give him the booger. Please, booger. Yeah! Eat those boogers, D-Rose. You love them. Don't lie. You love them. You love the booger flavor. You wish you had that toothpaste flavor now, don't you? Should have kept it for last.
God. Dude, that is hands down. It's hands down the worst one.
Dude, dirty dishwater is terrible. That one's for sure the worst one.
God.
It could have been over right here, but it's not. Clean sweep. The clean sweep. Give him a black one. Give him a black one.
Oh,
red.
Gosh.
What's red? What's red?
Either your favorite pomegranate or bandage. Please give me a pomegranate.
Give him the Band-Aid. Band-Aids are, dude, that tastes, dude, don't go off the screen when you eat it. Just pick up the bag. Just spit it in the bag. Because something tells me it's going to be terrible.
Please.
It's cherry. That's a lot of cheese. It can't be that bad. Dude, it takes you so long to realize that it's a bad bean. How? Does your tongue not work? Are your taste buds broken?
I think I still got the booger in my mouth, man. I'm just being honest. Like that one,
Oh my god!
It tastes like old tape.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it tastes like.
I still got the booger in my mouth, man. Like that's what it is. Like I still got that taste in my mouth, and I can't get it off.
Fair enough. Well, that was it for Eat the Beans this week. That was fun. How do you like it, D-Rose? You get clean swept. You get 2 bad beans and a toothpaste.
Should have gotten the toothpaste last. I wish I could.
Told you.
I should. Well, I mean, yes. You know how I like to do it. I do it by the grab. But hey, if I wanted to, I could have kept that one and set it down for last. But let's. I'm gonna play it fair.
Yeah. Let's get our news and fight announcements pulled up here. Let's go to MMA Junkie because I saw they were announcing some.
Yeah, I hate that freaking thing, man.
I hope it's stuck in your teeth, D-Rose. That's what I hope.
Honestly, the Band-Aid is in there. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I do have some tape taste in my mouth. Like it tastes.
That's what it tastes like.
Yeah.
Like athletic tape. Like you just ripped a piece off and chewed on it.
Yep. Yeah. Quite literally. And yeah.
Like an ace bandage. Like, have you ever bit an ace bandage?
Yeah.
Don't ask me why. That's what it tastes like. That's what it tastes like.
Yeah, and chewed on it for hours at a time.
Look at Dave.
This is
D-Rose is a good actor.
This is crazy.
Beangate, jelly bellies, he calls them. I think
they
are.
I actually have to piss. Can you take this for a second?
Yeah, you're good, man. He's gonna go throw up. He's gonna go brush his teeth. All right, y'all. Let's get into the UFC news and fight announcements that we have. So Dana White went live yesterday and was announcing a whole bunch of stuff. So why not just basically start right there where he was announcing a whole bunch of fights at. So, well, that's not it for UFC. Where's it at? Okay, it's just not going to be here. Cool. I'm looking for all the UFC 320 news. There we go. All right. Boom. Here we go. So let me share my screen. Share screen. And here we go. So for UFC 320, Dana White was live last night and started dropping, or, oh man, not that. Get this off the screen. Remove from studio. All right, cool beans. What's happening? All right, D-Rose. UFC 320, Dana White was live last night and dropped a whole bunch of shit on us. So UFC 320, October 4th. I don't see where it's going to be at, so I can only assume.
I believe they said it's Vegas.
Yeah, that's what I thought was Vegas. So, yeah. Alex Pereira versus Ankalaev 2. I didn't think this was going to be the next fight. I thought we heard some rumors that it was offered but not accepted. But I mean, in October, that means there's some time out, dude. So, do you think there's any difference from the first fight, or I guess what's your early lean here for the October fight, UFC 320?
One of the big thing for Alex is that he felt like he didn't kind of have enough time. I guess just considering how busy he was in 2024, and then turn around pretty quickly in 2025 at the top of the year and fight Pereira or fight Ankalaev. So a little bit more time for Pereira here. What was the fight? What was it? March. So March to October, you're looking at, 7 months roughly in between fights. Now you're probably looking at like, depending on how long he takes his camp, 8 to 10 weeks. So let's say 5 months, 4.5, 5 month recovery period. But that is a little bit more time considering the schedule he was on in 2024. So maybe that's a little bit more time for him. I still think Ankalaev is going to be a little bit of a problem for him, but I definitely want to see how fight week comes. Because I could be swayed either way, to be honest.
Fair enough. I don't hate it. Also, on the same card, D-Rose, UFC 320, Merab versus Sandhagen. Do they double it up because they don't want to put Merab as the main event to a pay-per-view, man?
Well, I don't even think maybe necessarily Merab itself, but I don't know if this fight in particular sells. You know what I mean? Like, and it made sense for Umar and I almost forgot his name there for a second. Umar Merab to be the co-main for Islam and what was supposed to be Arman. It made sense then because have Umar fighting the same card that Islam is on, but he was able to headline with O'Malley. I just don't think this fight in particular is sellable enough. But I think if he wins this fight, I think at a certain point in time they're going to start, using him as a headliner. But for now, hey, they're going to beef up the pay-per-view with pretty good fights. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be too upset.
You think Corey has a chance, man?
Yeah, no, I do. I think he's got a shot, man. He, I think his big thing for me, I've told you time and time again is that, I just don't think he's as explosive as he used to be. But I think that, the unorthodox attacks, the flying knees and the spinning kicks, and maybe not necessarily the spinning kicks, but just stuff that he doesn't really use anymore like that. I think those are the weapons that he could really use to try to maybe take advantage of Merab being so aggressive from time to time. But let's see if Corey Sandhagen can kind of do it like that, or will he try to take the more IQ route and try to outpoint?
I like his leg lock game, man. And if you don't train it, it could be an issue, man. And if he gets Merab entangled up with the legs, we'll see what happens there. We also have another one for UFC 320, man. One that I am a fan of, and I cannot wait to Why is my phone ringing? My computer started ringing, D-Rose. Are you there still?
Yeah, they're calling you.
All right, they're calling me. Anyway, UFC 320 as well. Yuri Prochazka versus Khalil Roundtree, dude, and I cannot wait for this fight, man. I will be betting a lot of money on Yuri Prochazka to knock out Khalil Roundtree because I don't think Khalil has the durability to withstand the damage that's going to come at him for what I assume this is going to be 3 rounds. I assume he can last that first round and until we see a Yuri second round knockout, pretty much as always, man. Yeah. Even though it says light heavyweight title there, give me Yuri Prochazka in this fight early, but booked for October, man. Already booking the fights early, yeah.
Yeah, and hey, I ain't gonna be mad at it because this is the fight I think I'm most excited for on that card. You know, the Alex Ankalaev fight, cool. Marab, Corey, cool. This is my main event right here. I think this fight is going to be a banger. I mean, I think just both of their explosive styles, it's going to have to be a good fight. Like anything less would be pretty disappointing. But I think just as explosive as both of these guys are, the matchup's going to be fireworks. They're unorthodox styles, especially for Yuri. And then, Khalil to go in there with that Muay Thai style, heavy on that front foot, but nasty with the leg kicks. And we saw how both of them looked against Jamal Hill in both their last fights. And, both had really good performances. So, and this fight could potentially, determine who's going to fight for the title next. So, yeah, I really like this fight a lot.
Yeah, man. I wouldn't mind seeing Ankalaev versus Yuri once, just to see what happens because we ain't seen it yet. Like we've already seen Yuri versus Alex enough times, dude. I don't need to see that. And UFC 322, this is going to be at MSG, dude. Madison Square Garden, November 15th. Jack Della Maddalena taking on Islam Makhachev for the welterweight 170-pound title. What's your thoughts on this? It being booked for MSG.
Yeah, I heard, Islam say it before, and once we'll get into the announcement for what was the Abu Dhabi card. Once I saw that announcement, I was like, okay, yeah, we know who's going to be headlining MSG. And, Islam did mention that he had wanted to do this because New York does have a pretty heavy Russian population up there. So not necessarily a home game for him, but he's going to have a lot of the home crowd there for him, to say the least. And, this is going to be a good fight. A lot of people, I think people were so excited for the Ilya fight that against Islam that people are kind of overlooking this fight. But let's be fair here. Like, JDM is kind of technically the tougher matchup just because he's the bigger dude than Ilya is. Maddalena is going to have I know that Ilya, you could say technically he's putting guys out and stuff like that, but Maddalena is a full 170-pound fighter. That 15-pound difference from 155 to 170 is pretty big. And we saw how JDM looked against a good wrestler like Bilal in his last fight. So this is not an easy fight for Islam at all. So Islam's taking a real big chance here, but it's a good fight, man, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, man. Me as well. Me as well. And then that's the last one that I have. Let's go to MMA Junkie right here. And then this is the last one that I have, dude. It was announced 3 hours ago now. We have Manon Fiorot versus Jasmine Jasudavicius, October 18th, UFC Vancouver, dude. So going up to Canada, going to be a French population there as well. However, Jasmine Jasudavicius is the Canadian, man. What's your thoughts on this, in my opinion, excellent matchup? Close fight, in my opinion, dude.
Does it say if this fight is the main event or not?
Women's flyweight bout, Vancouver. It doesn't say. Probably not.
Okay, yeah. I was just curious if this would be 3 or 5 rounds. I think between 3 or 5 rounds will kind of make me determine on who I think could potentially win the fight. I do think that's a tough matchup for Jasudavicius. I'm a big fan of of Lois and Jazz over here. She's looked a lot better in her last few fights. But Manon Fiorot, she has really good takedown defense, man, and that's where she's going to get the job done because we know she's a beast once she gets the fight to the ground. But Manon has really good takedown defense and really good distance management. So this is, as you said, really good matchmaking and should be a pretty good fight.
Yeah, man. Is there anything else that you've seen that I didn't pull up or I didn't talk about? Trying to see if there's anything else.
Did you talk about Tom Aspinall?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. I actually have it on the screen right here. I just accidentally closed it down. Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. This happened. We got news of this yesterday. Dana looked surprised a little bit when he talked about it. Like he didn't know this is the fight. But here we go. October 26th in Abu Dhabi, UFC 321. We got Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. I'm assuming going to be headlining UFC Abu Dhabi. Yeah, I could only imagine Tom wins this via first round submission because the game plan is there, and we know Cyril Gane don't train on the ground at all. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think this would be. I don't want to say too much easy work because Cyril Gane could come through. Maybe with I don't think he's going to come through because I don't think it's going to get to the judges. I think this is it's time for Tom Aspinall's reign. Cyril Gane is a talented fighter, but we've seen his holes at this point, and I think Tom Aspinall is the guy who could really take advantage of where Cyril Gane's weakest at. And yeah, I think Tom Aspinall, I think he cleans up here.
Yeah, man. And I honestly do think he makes it look easy. Big disrespect to Gane overall. Aspinall, I'd pick to win. Damn it, man. He's like phenomenal striker. Didn't get KO'd by Francis, who hits way harder. He almost got KO'd by Tai Tuivasa, though. Don't forget that.
Yeah, got dropped by Tai Tuivasa, so.
Dude, if you hear him talk about it, he said that he was out. He didn't understand how he got on the ground. He was like, He's like, I woke up and I was on the ground and I did not know how I got there. I
thought was that close to getting a title shot, dude. Like that's crazy.
And then hasn't won a fight. Hasn't won a fight since. Hasn't won a fight since.
And been dominated since too. It's like he was like, oh well, screw it. I made it now.
Yeah, Tom hasn't been out of the first round. I don't think this one gets out of the first round either, Antoine. But
he did go into the second round with Arlovsky, right? But he pretty much just
did he?
It was like right at the beginning of the second round, I believe. He got the sub. But I'm pretty sure that's the only fight.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, possibly. All right, so we will move on in. Let me change the title to our UFC on ABC or UFC Abu Dhabi, Fight Night Abu Dhabi, Rob Whittaker versus Ranier de Ridder. Our predictions, our preview, and our picks. So I stopped sharing, so I got to share my screen again, and then we will get into it. So this weekend, this Saturday in Abu Dhabi, we have UFC Fight Night. Ranier de Ridder taking on Robert the Reaper Whittaker. It's taking place at noon East Coast times. The prelims will be starting. So early fight card for everyone. Us on the East Coast here at noon. It's going to be taking place at the Etihad Arena, aka Fight Island, in Abu Dhabi. We do have 12 fights to go over. Do you remember like when Dana White was like fucking talking about this? Like they fucking built an island just for fighting heroes. It was an arena that was already there in Abu Dhabi. Fight Island, dude. What a time.
Yeah, people were so hyped up on that. But to be fair, like, did you really expect them to be fighting outside? Like a lot of people were like, they're gonna be fighting outside and then they're gonna be like in the middle of the beach and stuff like that. Come on, man! Like it was never going to be outside. Like being over,
that's what kind of makes me think like the White House thing is it's just not going to happen.
That I keep saying it. That's been my biggest thing is holding an outdoor event like that. You just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know the weather. How many times? I think the last couple of years it's rained on July 4th. So
especially on the East Coast, dude, it's good luck even predict like it. It's fucking scheduled to rain every day in the summer on the East Coast.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's just but you're right. Wild time.
Yeah, man. So let's get into it. Main event this upcoming weekend is Robert the Reaper Whittaker taking on Ranier RDR de Ridder. The co-main event is Piotr No Mercy on taking on Marcus the Maniac McGee. The featured fight of the night is Shara Bullet Magomedov taking on Mark Andre Powerbar Barrio. We do have Asu Amabayev taking on Jose Ochoa. We have Nikita the Miner Krylov taking on the Russian Anthony Smith, Bogdan Guskov. We have Thug Nasty Bryce Mitchell making his 135 debut, dropping down to 135, taking on Saeed Nurmagomedov. We have Muslim Zalikov taking on Carlos Leal in my contender for the fisting of the week. We have Damon, the Monster, Blackshear taking on Dangerous, Davy Grant. We have Amanda Hebus taking on Tabitha Ricci, or Hichi, Baby Shark, if you will. We've got Ibo Aslan taking on Billy Elikana. We have Muhammad Yahya taking on Steve Nguyen. And the opening fight of the night will be Martin Budai taking on Marcus Buchecha, UFC newcomer, but grappling legend at this point. Of course, Movsar withdrew out of another fight. Not too surprising, huh? I think you might be muted if you're talking, Dearest.
No, you were good.
Okay.
I was letting you play.
But not too surprising that Movsar pulled out.
Yeah, no, not super surprising, but I mean, to be fair, I told you I didn't really like the matchup for Pico anyway. Pico's a guy that I'm excited for going into the UFC. So yeah, let's not match him up against the hardest guy in the division who's going to be hard to look good against. I'd like for them to give Pico a more favorable matchup. But I did see a thing where they said they're trying to rebook the fight. So
yeah, for Chicago, I think.
Yeah. So I don't know.
We'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens. It's a solid 9 on paper, but a 10 of 10 before the co-main event pulled out. Yeah, I'm excited about the fights this weekend. I like that they're early too. So let's get into it, D-Rose. First fight of the night is going to be Martin Baddies Budai taking on Marcus Buchecha. Martin Budai is 15-2 overall. He's 33 years old, 6'4", a 77-inch reach, and currently, and Marcus Buchecha is 5-1 overall, 35 years old, 6'3", and an 80-inch reach. Currently, odds for the fight are Martin Budai plus 250. Marcus Buchecha is minus 310. Over under is 1.5 here. The over is minus 130. The under is plus 100. Yeah, D-Rose. It did not take me. Well, hold on. Let me start off like this. I'm a Martin Budai guy, right? He's just my kind of guy. I just pick him all the time, and I think that he has the tools to win most of the fights. Big body, likes to grapple, likes to get on top, and you don't see that at heavyweight. The issue is this week is Marcus Buchecha is a giant man who does grapple, and in everything that I've seen, dude, he is just going out there and just dogging dudes out. He'll be a little bit shorter here, 6'3" to 6'4", but Martin Budai's path to victory usually includes pushing guys up against the fence, wearing on them. And I think that if he does that, he ends up getting swept, taken down, and probably submitted or ground and pound himself, man. So if I'm going to be completely honest, the way I see this fight going is going to be Marcus Buchecha going to win this fight. Let's go first round submission, D-Rose. Which way are you going here, man?
Honestly, you broke it down just exactly how I see it. Exactly.
I feel you, Dave.
Yeah, I think, where Martin Budai's, path of victory, it does include a lot of clinching up against the fence, and that I think that's going to set up perfectly for, some type of sweep or something like that for Buchecha to set it up and, be able to do his work on the ground. So, yeah, I think, I'm going to go Buchecha here, and I'm also going to go a first round submission.
Fair enough. Me and D-Rose both on the same page there. Does it surprise you that I didn't pick my guy there?
A little bit, but I think what comes with us as being fans of some of these fighters, that we watch them so much, is that we know kind of like I said earlier with Song Yadong, I know his ceiling. We know where some guys can kind of top out at. So I think your guy to a certain extent.
Yeah, man. Anton wants to know: do you think people can be prospect at 35 like Buchecha? I think prospect is someone growing a younger fighter. At heavyweight, it's more flexible because all the heavyweights are just either old or fat. So it's like it's not really a whole lot you have to do at heavyweight to become a prospect. Yeah, he's a good grappler. He's like won like the some kind of world like jiu-jitsu shit like 7 times, dude. So just what UFC needs, another crotch sniffing heavyweight. Yeah, but he's going for the finish, Dave. He's for sure going for the finish. So moving on to the next one, we've got Muhammad Yahya taking on Steve Nguyen. Before I break this down, I want nothing to do with this fight, and this fight will be seeing none of my money. Maybe the fight to go to decision, dude, but picking either one of these fighters makes me want to throw up. All right, let's break it down. We got the UAE warrior, Muhammad Yahya, who is 12-5 overall. I don't think he's won in the UFC yet. No, he's not. He's 0-2 in the UFC, 31 years old, 5'9" and a 73-inch reach, while Steve Nguyen, 9-2 overall. Out of his one UFC fight, he lost to Jarno Aarons via decision, which, to be honest, not the best look because we know how to beat Jarno Aarons. Take him down, man. Anyway, he's 32 years old, 5'11" and 73-inch reach, dude. Oh. Which way are you going here, D-Rose?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not done the most research when it comes to this fight. I guess I'm just going to go Steve Nguyen by decision just because I just don't trust Muhammad Yahya that much. I guess just from what I've seen from him in the UFC, it hasn't been that great. Steve Nguyen can go in there and get a takedown. I know, Muhammad Yahya's striking isn't the greatest. I don't really know if I've really seen too much of Steve Nguyen, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I'll go Steve Nguyen by decision.
Contender series. He got to the UFC off beating up AJ Cunningham on the Contender Series. But he was on the Contender Series 3 different times, dude. Look at this. Lost the first time to Alon Cruz. Was on there again against Theo Riang and again against AJ Cunningham. You know how I feel about people on the Contender Series 3 times, dude. Just, I don't know, dude. I think I'm going to go opposite here. I'm going to go Muhammad Yahya via decision because, shit, wrong button. Because they are in the UAE and he is the UAE warrior. I'm going Muhammad Yahya to win this fight via robbery split decision. That's the first different fight of the night, dearest. I hope you feel good about it. You got the big favorite, so you got the big favorite. Odds for the fight plus 280 for Muhammad Yahya. Steve Nguyen minus
that means nothing. We saw how a lot of those fights played out last week on the main card. 4 dogs lost. That means nothing. I don't care.
Yep. All right, D-Rose. So we'll move on to the next one. We have Ibo Aslan taking on Billy Elikana. The last Ottoman, Ibo Aslan, is 14-2 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, he has a loss to Iwan Kutalaba, a win over Rafael Cerqueira, a knockout over Anton Turkali, and he was on the Contender Series before that. He is 29 years old, 6'3" and a 77.5-inch reach, while Billy Elikana is 7-2 overall. Made his UFC debut against Bogdan Guskov in his last fight and lost via guillotine. Not a good look. He is 30 years old, 6'2" and a 77-inch reach. I'm not spending my time here. This is Ibo Aslan round 1 knockout because that's how Ibo Aslan wins all of his fights, is by first round knockout. And dude, you get guillotined by Ibo Aslan, dude. By Bogdan Guskov that truly has no ground. He has a black or brown belt, but dude, the way Volkan Oezdemir just treated Bogdan Guskov tells me that he does not have a good ground game, and he's submitted Billy Elikana. Not a good look, dude. I don't think this dude's that good, and he's got a terrible picture there too. Give me Ibo Aslan to win this by round 1 knockout.
You're like, Andy,
look at that picture,
shit too, bro.
Look at that picture, dude. Look at that picture.
That is crazy. Yeah, but no, like Billy Elikana, the problem is like he doesn't look like a light heavyweight. He looks like a middleweight, and I know the fight against Bogdan. I know you're giving him crap about it, but he did take the fight on like super short notice, and he was just getting pulverized like on the feet. I had Bogdan Guzgov KO round 1 or 2, and of course Bogdan ended up getting the submission. Dude, I was so pissed. I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" But yeah, Alicana is not a light heavyweight. Ibu Aslan is. Yeah,
Big one too. Big.
Yeah, and I don't trust Ebo Aslan either. I
No.
told you, Ebo Ass Man, as Dave likes to call him here. I'm not a big backer on Ebo Aslan here, but
I remember the last
most
fight,
cases,
it was Ewan versus Ebo, and I was like, I'll just take the under. I don't care who wins. I'll take the under. And sure enough, it went under.
Yeah, it 100% did. But yeah, give me Aslan first round KO.
Yeah, me and D-Rose paired up again there. Pick the same one. Moving on, we have Tabitha, the Baby Shark Ricci, taking on Amanda Hebus. Amanda Hebus is 12-6 overall. Out of her last 5 fights, she is 3 losses and 2 wins. But a lot of that is probably up at 125. So the Vivi fight's up at 125. Macy's up at 125. The win against Luana Pinheiro, that was probably at 115. Thug Rose loss was at 125, and then Mackenzie Dern was at 115 again. That was 6 months ago. So I don't know what she's doing, bouncing back and forth. She's 31 years old, 5'3", and a 66-inch reach. This is going to be at straw weight, so 115. We got Tabitha Baby Shark Ricci, 11-3 overall. Out of her last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses. Win against Jillian Robertson, loss against Lupe Godinez, win against Tisha Pennington, win against Angie Hill, and in a loss to Yan Xiaonan 7 months ago. She is 30 years old, 5'1", and a 61-inch reach. D-Rose, the odds for this fight, I don't really understand. Amanda Hebus, minus 185, the favorite. Tabitha Ricci, plus 154, the underdog. Do you see this fight any more than a coin flip?
Yeah, I can make an argument for either one of these fighters to win. So
I just don't know how. How's Hebus almost a 2-1 favorite here, and especially knowing that this fight right here stands out to me the most. Jillian Robertson, 2 years ago at that, and Tabitha Ricci, every time we see her, dude, she looks better and better. Her hands are getting better and better for sure, and we know Amanda Hebus doesn't move her fucking head, dude. So ground game, I basically think these girls are about even, which tells me that they're going to have a striking match for 3 rounds, dude. And I have to go Tabitha Ricci just because Amanda Hebus doesn't move her head, dude. So give me Tabitha Ricci to win this fight via decision and just busting Amanda Hebus up the whole fight. I guarantee you after the first round, Amanda Hebus's nose is fucking bleeding, dude.
Yeah, it's like it's a requirement in an Amanda Hebus fight that her nose is bleeding at the end of the fight. Like it's crazy.
At the end of the first round, dude.
She had to have had her nose broken like a couple times at this point. She had to.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, this is one of the fights I've actually been back and forth on. I can make an argument for both fighters winning. I can see Hebus going in there because she's going to be the much bigger fighter. She will be. We know Baby Shark. She's named Baby Shark for a reason. She can fight at atomweight if there was an atomweight division. Where Hebus, she's going back and forth between 115 and 125, and she's sizing up on one of them 125ers pretty well. So I do think the size advantage is going to be on Hebus's side, but I do think the speed is going to be on the side of Ricci. So I think that's where I've kind of struggled, coming to grips with the most. I'm going to say Amanda Hebus. She's still young enough to get it done. She's got 2 losses in a row. She's got a higher level of competition, I would say, than Tabitha Ricci. Even though Tabitha Ricci has fought some good fighters, but you look back at Amanda Hebus's hit list and or her record, and she's got some big names on that record, man. Rose Namajunas, Macy Barber, Mackenzie Dern twice. She's fought Caitlin Chikagian. She's fought a lot of the best fighters for a while now. So I'm going to say Amanda Hebus gets it done. I think she's going to do a lot of wrestling in this fight, but I think she gets it done by decision.
Fair enough. Me and Nero split on that one, dude. Yeah, I think the Jillian fight stands out to me the most, which is why I'm going Richie. Moving on to the next one, where we have one of D Rose's guys here. We got the Monster Blackshear, taking on dangerous Davy Grant. Damon Blackshear is 17-7-1 overall out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses. Lost to Mario Bautista, lost to Montel Jackson, win over Cody Stamen, win over Cody Gibson. He almost got finished in that first round, though. Let's be real. And then a decision win over Alatong Haley 2 months ago. He is 30 years old, 5'10", and a 72-inch reach, while dangerous Davy Grant is 14-7 overall out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses. Lost to Adrian Yanez, win against Luis Smolka, win against Rafael Sunsao, lost to Daniel Marcos, and he could have won that one, though, and a win against Ramon Tavares 7 months ago. He is 39 years old, 5'7", and a 69-inch reach. And D-Rose, as I'm going through all of these people, no one is going to take him down. None of these guys, dude. And this fight is one that, what was it, the Jake Matthews fight a few weeks ago against Cheaty? And we're like, if Jake Matthews wrestles, he wins this fight easily. Like, no issues. And that's kind of how I feel about this. Because, dude, I don't know if I've ever seen Davy Grant stop a takedown. If I'm going to be completely honest, he gets taken down pretty easily. And once he's on the ground, dude, I think he's going to run into a dangerous Damon Blackshear here. He has lethal submissions, and Davy Grant, when he usually loses, it's either by decision or by submission. Let's be real. So I think, D-Rose, what I'm going to go here is I'm going to end up going round 1. Damon Blackshear is probably going to play on the feet, and then he was probably going to get clipped with a thing or two that's going to make him be like, all right, I'm shooting now. So I'm going to go with Damon Blackshear to win this fight via 2nd round submission. How about you, man?
Yeah, you know I love me some Davy Grant, dangerous Davy Grant. He's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
That dude's a dog, man. But I do think that he's in for a battle, man. He is, because Damon Blackshear, we've seen how good he is on the ground with his jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
his
odds here are wild. -340 Damon Blackshear, +270 Davy Grant too.
Yeah, Damon Blackshear, he's slick on the ground, man. And as you said, Davy Grant's takedown defense is not the greatest. I do think that he can defend the choke pretty well. But his problem is that he's a pretty decent scrambler, so he does get comfortable in certain positions he shouldn't be. I don't think that's going to be the case with Damon Blackshear, because he knows Damon Blackshear's path to victory. But I do think that Blackshear, he's just going to be the bigger, stronger guy against a guy like Davy Grant, who isn't really the best at stuffing takedowns anyway. I'm going to take Blackshear by decision.
All right. Me and D-Rose both on Damon Blackshear. I'm on submission. D-Rose is on via decision. We'll move on to the fisting of the week, or at least my entry for fisting of the week. We've got Muslim, the king of Kung Fu, Salikov, taking on Carlos the Lion Leal. Muslim Salikov, 21-5 overall out of his last 5 fights. He is 3 wins, 2 losses. Win over Andre Fiallo. Oh man. Nicholas Dalby decision loss. Randy Brown knockout loss. This a right? Oh, I said straight. I thought it said straight face or some shit like that. Anyway, Santiago Ponzinibbio beat him via split decision a year ago, and then he did knock out Son Kanan 7 months ago with a spinning wheel kick, dude. Spinning old kick, we should call it, because he is. It says he's 41 years old, dude, but let's be real, he's closer to 50, maybe even over 50. Who knows? Anyway, he is 5'11", 6 overall out of his last 5 fights, 2 wins and 3 losses. And this loss right here is why I think Carlos Leal is coming back to Abu Dhabi with a vengeance this week. He has 8 months of vengeance built up. He got a little vengeance out 4 months ago over Alex Morono, but he's coming back to Abu Dhabi to show the judges that he don't need them this week. Anyway, Carlos Leal, 31 years old, 5'11", and a 72-inch reach. Andy Rose, this is my fisting of the week, man. This is my entry. I think Carlos Leal down. Don't let him throw the spinning old kick and just fucking bombs on this old man, dude. Just treats him like Alex Morono, bouncing him off the fence, just beating the shit out of him until at some point we see a Carlos Leal round one knockout, maybe 3 minutes into round one. Which way you going here, man?
Inspired the actual punch. There at the end, Carlos Leal did with Alex Morono. So, hey, he's got a little bit of a reputation within this podcast here. So, but I do think that man, Leal's definitely going. I picked Alex Morono last fight. I tried to get sneaky. I tried to get cute. I was like, hey, he hadn't fought that big competition. Nah, man. Them hands are crispy. He's got big power. He's absolutely jacked.
Got gas to go all three, like with fucking Renat last time, too.
Yeah, and should have won the Renat fight. So, again, I told you, I came in at the middle of the second round and watched the third round. I was like, oh, yeah, Carlos Leal won that fight clearly. And they're like, we're not factored in. I was like, what the hell did I miss here? Like, that's insane. And I bet we're not factored in off. And I was like, yes, I got the win. But, yeah, I was definitely surprised there. So, yeah, Leal's the real deal, man. I'm with you, man. I think round 1 KO is the way to go.
Is this entry for fisting of the week for you, or do you got another one?
Man, I mean, I'm looking now, and that's probably
gonna be it.
Probably it. Yeah, you're right.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Me and D-Rose both on Carlos Leal to knock out Muslim Salikov round one. Moving on to the next one, we got Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell taking on Saeed Nurmagomedov. Not related at all to Khabib or his crew at all, and you can see that by the way that he fights. To be honest, anyway. Thug Nasty is 17-3 overall out of his last 5 fights, alternating wins and loss. Lost to Ilya, win against Dan Ige, lost to Josh Emmett, win against Kron Gracie, and lost to Gene Silva 2 months ago. He is 30 years old, 5'10", and a 70-inch reach, while Saeed Nurmagomedov is 18-4 overall. And of his last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses. Win against Douglas Da Silva de Andrade, win against Saeed Kakramanov, where he got wrestled that entire fight. He was losing that fight until he sunk in that ninja choke there. Lost to Jonathan Martinez, win against Moin Gaffarov, and lost to Vinicius Oliveira 5 months ago. Where he just, dude, Saeed was fighting for his life in that fucking third round, not to get fit.
Hold on.
Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, moving down from 145 down to 135. I think that makes a big difference, man. I think he's going to make weight. He looks good this week. He looks thin, but also in shape. I've never seen Thug Nasty with abs, dude, but he is ripped this week. He's got a 6-pack, and I like to see it. He's going to be the bigger guy here, and Saeed's not the wrestler. If there's one thing I'll worry about, and I'm sure you guys have already heard it or you will hear it a few more times this week, is that he's got this nasty front choke Saeed Nurmagomedov. And when Bryce shoots, he kind of shoots recklessly, like into shit, and he just got submitted with like a ninja choke. And that is basically the series that Saeed will run through if a person shoots in on him, dude. So I'm kind of worried that he could get caught in a choke. But I'm saying the size of Thug Nasty gets it done here, dude. I'm saying Thug Nasty comes out here, takes down Saeed, and just sticks on him, man. Works him, beats him up, cooks him to the bone, if you will. And then we see a round 3 submission from Thug Nasty Bryce Mitchell. I got my shirt on here, my Thug Nasty shirt, broke it back out, hadn't worked for a little bit because he's going through some controversy. I didn't want to support. Here we go. My fucking camouflage Thug Nasty, or it's not a Thug Nasty hat, just my camouflage UFC hat. There we go. Let's go Thug Nasty to get this win over Saeed Nurmagomedov. Which way are you going here, D-Rose?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty well made. This is good matchmaking here. for this fight. That's the way to say it. There you go.
Let me tell
Good
you the
job.
odds for this, by the way. Odds minus 135 Bryce Mitchell, plus 115 for Saeed. But earlier in the week, I saw Bryce as the dog and Saeed as the favorite. So it looks like odds have flipped from, I guess, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, I guess that's no surprise too, just because just as far as Bryce being the underdog, I could see why they would want to put money on him. And for me, I think where Bryce has struggled the most is guys who can offer up that submission. Like you said, he got caught in the front choke by Jones Silva and got caught in the head arm choke by Ilya. But to be fair here, he was buzzed and stunned and hurt on the feet. When Bryce is getting hit by good power punchers, that's where he can, kind of make mistakes in the fight. Where I think Saeed, he's got good striking, as you said, really good front choke. Saeed has good kicks, but he does not have, he doesn't have the most power in his hands. He doesn't have dynamite in his hands to really hurt Bryce Mitchell. I think that's where Bryce Mitchell can take advantage. Saeed Nurmagomedov is a good striker, good grappler, but he does tend to gas out in fights. And that's one thing I can actually give Bryce Mitchell credit for, is that I really haven't seen him gas too much. Like, we've seen him hurt, we've seen him KO'd, but if he's still in the fight in the third round, I don't see him gassing where I do see Saeed gassing over time. I think Bryce wins like the scramble fest for the most part. I don't think it's going to end up being just all top control. Like, I think Saeed's going to end up getting up. But I think, honestly, if I had to choose between who's like the better like straight boxer between the two, I would probably say Bryce. And I think that's how he ends up getting it done. I think Bryce Mitchell by decision is the way to go.
Fair enough. I'm glad you pointed that out, because I think a lot of people are acting like if this is on the feet, Bryce Mitchell has no shot. But I mean, go back and watch Edson Barboza fight, dude. He dropped Edson. It's like the threat of the takedown makes people worried, and then all you gotta do is throw a hook and catch him on the chin one time, and down you go.
Yeah, exactly. And he was, even in the Ilya fight, he was throwing some good jabs against Ilya. He doesn't have a lot of power, but I think just as far as like technique with his boxing, his boxing is pretty solid. So it's definitely came a long way.
Yeah, so me and D Rose both on Thug Nasty Bryce Mitchell to win the fight this weekend. Up next, we have Nikita, the minor, wow. Let's try this again. We have Nikita, the minor Krylov, taking on Bogdan Guskov. Sarzovic? I don't know how to say that. Anyway, Nikita Krylov is 30-10 overall out of his last 5 fights, 2 losses and 3 wins. Lost 3 years ago to Paul Craig, win 3 years ago to Alexander Gustafsson, win 2 years and 8 months ago to Volkan Oezdemir, win 2 years 4 months ago to Ryan Spann. Had some shoulder injuries, took time off, and it looked like ass against Dominic Reyes, where he was knocked out 2 months ago. And dude, it's like his goal was just running face first into Dominic Reyes' punch, dude. I don't even know if that may have been the first punch that Reyes threw, dude. He just ran face first into it, man. Anyway, he's 33 years old, 6'3" and a 77.5-inch reach, while Bogdan Guskov is 17-3 overall out of his last 5 fights. 4 wins, 1 loss. Loss in his first fight in the UFC to Volkan Oezdemir. Win over Zach Pauga. Win over Ryan Spann, and then win over Billy Alicana 5 months ago. He is 32 years old, 6'3" and a 76-inch reach. Man, D Rose, this is a tough one for me, because we are going for a fighter that looked like shit in his last fight, coming off of 2 shoulder surgeries, or picking a fighter that just, let's be fair, he's not good, dude. He's got power in the first round you kind of got to watch out for. But outside of that, dude, like I don't know where this dude is good anywhere, if I'm going to be real. So as long as Nikita Krylov cannot get knocked out in this first round, I think he wins this fight. And I know he has a big grappling advantage over Bogdan Guskov here, man. So I have to go Nikita Krylov. Maybe shook the rust off in his last fight after he got punched in the face, before he got punched in the face. I don't know. I don't really want to bet anybody here, but I guess I'll go Nikita Krylov to win this fight via second round sub once Bogdan Guskov empties the tank in the first. I guess Odds for the fight are minus 192 Nikita Krylov, plus 160 Bogdan Guskov. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, I think this is one where I'm actually kind of surprised at the betting lines. To have Nikita Krylov coming off the performance that he just came off of, and to be basically a 2-1 favorite, like that's that's a little bit crazy in my opinion.
Yeah.
Nikita Krylov has really good experience. He's fought against some good guys, but man, Nikita Krylov, he makes a lot of mistakes in fights. I think Bogdan Guskov, I think in that first fight against Volkan Oezdemir, he took the fight on short notice and he tried to get Volkan out of there early. Volkan Oezdemir is just a tough OG, just a vet at this point. It's gonna be hard for anybody to get that dude out of here. And he ended up gassing, but I think Bogdan looks good in those last few fights. The last 3 fight winning streak that he's had, and man, his boxing looks good. I know you said he doesn't look that good, but I think he's shown some flashes of looking pretty good, man. Good power in his hands, and I think he can take advantage on the feet. He's not a KO puncher like Dominic Reyes is, but I do think that he can kind of set up similar punches, and he's got power, man. So I'm going to go Bogdan Guskov. I'm going to go round 1 KO here. I think Bogdan gets it done, and I'm going to throw some money at that this weekend because I'm surprised that he's as big of a dog as he is.
Fair enough. That's another one we are split on, D-Rose. So moving on up, we have 4 fights to go. We will talk about this one first. We have Asu Zulfikar Almabayev taking on Jose Kaiser Ochoa. We have two fight names that I cannot say. Anyway, Asu Almabayev, 23-1 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 4 wins and 1 loss. Win over Ode Osborne, win over CJ Vergara, win over Jose Johnson, win over Matthias Nicolau, and then got snoozed against Manel Kopp 4 months ago. He's 31 years old, 5'4" and a 65-inch reach. He was scheduled against another similar dude on this card that I get confused with this guy. But anyway, that fall off. So in steps Jose Ochoa, who's 8-1 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, he has a draw, 2 wins, and a loss. In his UFC debut, he lost to Loner Kavanaugh via decision, dude. But Loner Kavanaugh, fun fighter, and that was a hell of a fight too, and it went to decision. So we know he's got a chin. And then a month and 5 days ago, he was against Cody Durden. And I picked Cody Durden in that fight because I thought Cody Durden was going to have the wrestling to get Jose Ochoa down and just control him. And he did get Jose Ochoa down, but Jose Ochoa stood up and didn't care, just continued to bomb on Cody Durden. And then the round ended. Round 2 started, and then Jose Ochoa comes out and just knocks Cody Durden's head off, dude. Knocks him out cold. And, yeah, man, just seeing the matchup and the fighter's last fighter, dude. I'm not saying Jose Ochoa is, Manel Kopp level of cleanliness, but just the way he throws with reckless abandonment, with all power, and seems like he can do that for at least 7-8 minutes, dude. I don't know if Asu Almabayev is able to stand there on the feet all 5 minutes and take that. And I do think Jose Ochoa is, if he gets taken down once, twice, all right, cool. But I think once like 3 comes, I think he's going to start to stuff them. And Asu Almabayev on the feet, at least against Manel Kopp, looked very, very uncomfortable. So it tells me he doesn't like to be there. I'm going Jose Ochoa to win this fight via second-round knockout, just like he did in his last fight against Cody Durden. What about you, man?
Yeah, I think this is a fight where, I've been going back and forth. I can see a way for both. I think Asu Almabayev, he's got a lot of experience. Just in general, maybe not, the highest level UFC experience, but he, just overall, 24 fights at, a pretty young age, that's a lot of experience. And Jose Ochoa is a guy who has looked good in the UFC so far. And that, that Cody Durden fight, he looked, spectacular in that fight, and that second round KO was, the way he set that up was super clean. And yeah, I thought it was a good fight. I do think Asuam Abayev has a path to victory here. I know, the Manel Cop fight, whatever, in regards to how he looked, but let's be fair here. I did say while I was watching the fight against Manel Cop, I'm like, man, he's not poking you in the eye. But you go back in that fight and dude,
he was for sure poking him in the eye.
Like, yeah, Manel Cop was breaking, scraping, poking, like every which way you can say poking him in the eye. He was 100% doing that to Asuam Abayev. And I just think, Amabayev got a little bit of a bad rap for that. I mean, Ochoa did look good with the takedown defense against Cody Durden, but I do think Cody Durden is chinny at the same time as well. And I do think that I think Amabayev's good, man. I just think that Manel Cop's just bad matchup for him in general. Just especially with the athleticism of Cop. I think Cop's kind of in his zone right now of his own. But I think I want to go with Asuam Abayev here. I want to go by decision, man. I just got to think that experience. It almost kind of reminds me of Cody Steele versus Rong Zhu, where we were so confident that Cody Steele was going to go in there and get the job done. And then he just goes in there, and you can just see a lot of the inexperience take over in that fight. I can see something very similar for Jose Ochoa here, where Asuam Abayev, 24 fights in, has been there and done that. So I say Asuam Abayev gets it done by decision.
Fair enough, man. The odds for the fight are currently -120 Asuam Abayev, +100 Jose Ochoa. Dude, it opened up, I think, like -400 Asuam Abayev. So money came in a lot on Jose Ochoa.
That's insane if that's the case.
I mean, like,
to get down so close to now it's even money, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's just the power of Jose Ochoa, like the way he comes out swinging, trains with Charles Oliveira, shoot the box, dude. You never know. Anyway, another contender for me for the fisting of the week is Shara Bullet Magomedov versus Marc-Andre Barrio. Shara Bullet Magomedov, 15-1 overall, lost against MVP 5 months ago, undefeated outside of that, though. Double-fisted Armin Petrosian before that. Mikhail Oshejuk, decision win. Close fight, though. Antonio Tricoli, knockout win, and a Bruno Silva decision win. Anyway, Shara Bullet, 31 years old, 6'2", and a 73-inch reach, while Marc-Andre Barrio is 17-9 overall out of his last 5 fights. Win over Eric Anders, lost to Chris Curtis, lost to Joe Pyfer, lost to Dustin Stolfoots, and got knocked out by Dustin Stolfoots, which is not a good look. And the way he got knocked out by Dustin Stolfoots was bad too, because he just kind of was like bit down on the mouthpiece and just was like, fuck it, let's just throw, and got snoozed. He did knock out Bruno Silva 2 months ago and then send him back to selling Kias. Marc-Andre Barrio is 35 years old, 6'1", and a 74-inch reach. Yeah, D-Rose, this is my other contender for fisting of the week. I think Marc-Andre Barrio runs into a counter left hook probably in the first round, if I'm going to be real. And it's mostly just because Shara Bullet fights really good going backwards, dude. He's probably one of the best fighters that I've seen going backwards that just can land shit. And that's like one of his good traits. Yeah, he don't have an eye, but it don't really seem to matter too much. I don't think Marc-Andre Barrio is going to do anything that's going to surprise Shara Bullet Magomedov here. And just the way Marc-Andre fights, just like the way that he fights, just walks forward, throws punches, tries to get in the clinch. And if he starts reaching, Shara Bullet's going to knock him out, dude. I got this easy round 1 knockout, Shara Bullet. How about you, man?
Man, I'm surprised because I remember after Powerbar did that to Bruno Silva when he put a card dent in Bruno Silva's head with that elbow. I remember they announced, Powerbar to fight Shara pretty much like a week after that Bruno Silva win. You were kind of like, hey, Powerbar might have a chance here. So I'm surprised that the hard shift has came from him.
Yeah, I think just the more I look into it, like, I think I'm not huge on fucking Shara Bullet, but the Dustin Stolfoots knockout lets me know that Marc-Andre Barrio doesn't have a great chin. And like I said, Shara Bullet fights good going back. So it's like the perfect recipe for Marc-Andre Barrio to just come in, try to get him in the clinch, start to reach, and just get clipped.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it. I mean, Powerbar does get chinny at times. I mean, I'm telling you, just in terms of betting, please stay away from this fight. I'm not getting anywhere near this fight. Maybe taking like an under, but in terms of like betting a winner or method of victory or something like that, I would say stay far away from this. Because I would not be surprised if Power Bar gets the takedown and goes in there and sub Sharp Bullet. That's how like unsure I am about this fight. I am going to go Sharp Bullet. I want to go round 2 KO. I think, he used a little bit of his footwork, makes it a little bit harder for Power Bar to kind of track him down in the first round. And I think Power Bar just kind of gets frustrated, just kind of runs into a big shot and gets put out. So I'm going to go Sharp Bullet round 2 KO. But I will tell you, I am not super confident. And man, I don't know what is up in my bladder, but I have to piss once again. If you can take this one in the next fight.
All right, moving on to the next one. We have Piotr No Mercy Jan taking on Marcus the Maniac McGee. Piotr No Mercy Jan is 18-5 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, he is 2 wins and 3 losses. Lost to Aljamain Sterling, lost to Sean O'Malley, lost to Merab Dvalishvili. So the last 3 champions at 135 pounds. He did win against Song Yadong, and he does have a win against Davidson Figueroa 7 months ago. Piotr Jan's 32 years old, 5'7" and a 67-inch reach, while the Maniac, Marcus McGee, is 10-1 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 5-0. UFC debut was against Journey Newsom, submitted a rear naked choke, knocked out JP Buys, knocked out Gaston Bolaños, and then defeated Marcus McGee via decision 8 months ago. Marcus McGee is, he defeated Jonathan Martinez 8 months ago. Marcus McGee is 35 years old, 5'8" and a 69-inch reach. Currently, the odds for this fight are Piotr Jan minus 380, your favorite. Marcus McGee is your underdog at plus 300. Looks like everyone picking Piotr Jan to win this fight. My thing is, this is a 3-round fight, and we know, let's be real, Piotr Jan going to lose round 1. So that leaves Piotr Jan having to win the next 2 rounds clearly to win this fight. And if there's one thing that I think stands out the most between these fighters is the punching power that Marcus McGee has. He's willing to go in there, throw to the body and to the head. And Piotr Jan has the technique to survive and, use good defense and just get out of there. But something tells me, dude, that Marcus McGee is going to win this fight. I think he's going to go in there, beat up Piotr Jan round 2 and 3, and he's going to win this fight 29-28 on all 3 judges' scorecards. And then we're going to see a bunch of people mad once again, like when Sean O'Malley won. But I think Marcus McGee wins this fight via decision as the underdog. He rose plus 300 to minus 380. Piotr Jan. What's up, man?
Wow. That's a shocking pick there. Man, I think I'll have to be honest. I don't see how this fight's close, if I'm being honest. I think Marcus McGee's good. He's solid. That Jonathan Martinez fight was very concerning. I mean, obviously, Jonathan Martinez's leg kicks are different. But even then, I thought I thought Marcus McGee was kind of going in there to take Jonathan Martinez out early, and I think he sort of gassed later in the fights, which I think left the leg kicks there to be had for Jonathan Martinez, which is obviously his best weapon. And I think obviously he's going to be in Abu Dhabi as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think this is all set up for Piotr Jan to get the win here. I think Jan gets it done by decision. I just think there's levels, man. Piotr Jan's fought the much tougher competition at this point. Sean O'Malley, Merab Dvalishvili, Song Yadong, Davidson Figueredo, Corey Sandhagen, Aljo. Like, you're just talking about champion after champion and title contender, and Marcus McGee hasn't fought anybody near that level yet. And I think Piotr Jan still got it as well, being the younger guy at 32 versus Marcus McGee coming in and getting a late start at 35. I think Piotr Jan gets it done by decision, and I think he wins all 3.
That's fair, dude. Me personally, I just think it's Marcus McGee's time to go. He's 35. He's got to go now.
No, that's fair. I personally think it is way too high of a jump to go from Jonathan Martinez to to Peter Yan, especially the way that he looked against Jonathan Martinez. I guess that's what I'm struggling to come to terms with.
I mean, yeah, the odds reflect that. You're not wrong. My thing is, dogs have been coming through, baby. Dogs have been rolling. Let's see another one. Let's see another one here. Anyway, main event time. We have Robert the Reaper Whittaker taking on Rainier de Ritter, RDR, if you will. Odds for the fight are -162 Robert Whittaker, Rainier de Ritter +136, the underdog. This is a 5-rounder. Robert the Reaper Whittaker, 26-8 overall out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses, win over Marvin Vettori, lost to Jarikas, win over Paulo, win over Ikram Aliskerov, and then lost to Hamzat 8 months ago. Rob's 34 years old, 6 foot and a 73-inch reach, while RDR is 20-2 overall, hasn't lost in the UFC at all. Win over GM3, win over Kevin Holland, and then win over Bo Nickel 2 months ago. He's 34 years old, 6'4" and a 78-inch reach. How do I say this? Because I like Rob. A lot of people like Rob. He's a good fighter. But it's no secret that I think that he is too small for middleweight, especially middleweight nowadays. I think he for sure would be better down at 170, but he's a little bit older now. And I've been seeing Rob on a lot more YouTube videos where earlier in his career, it was kind of like he was so focused on like fighting. I'm going to beat that guy. And then now it's like he's friendly with Izzy. You know, he's friendly with a few people now that I've seen. And I don't know if Rob still has that fire in a man to compete with the top of this division, in which I do think Rainier de Ritter is at the top of this division. Is he goofy as all hell? Yes. Does he have terrible striking? Yes. Does he have no striking defense? Yes. But guess what? All 3 of those apply to the current champion as well, and he's the fucking champion right now. Rainier de Ritter is basically like Jarikas, just not as fast. A bigger guy. I would consider him to be the more stronger and grapple-heavy fighter out of the 2. And if Jarikas and Hamzat go in there and do that with Rob, I don't know what's stopping RDR from doing the same thing, D-Rose. So if I'm going to be real, I don't like it, but I'm going to pick RDR to win this via second-round submission, man. I think RDR is too big. I think Rob's too small at this point, dude. The fire doesn't burn as hot as it used to. Give me the dog, Rainier de Ritter, to win this fight. Let's go. You know, I'm going to change it to third-round submission. What about you, man?
Yeah, this is one that I've probably gone back and forth on the most. I will be honest. I love both guys, and obviously, Robert Whittaker, former champ, put on highlight reels and fun fights after fun fights, and all the craziness that he's been involved with, and Rainier de Ritter, even with the short UFC run that he's had so far, dude, he's put on some great performances, and I think he really bought in on he had a lot of fans buy in on him when he had that performance against Bo Nickel. And honestly, I've gone back and watched that knee. I don't know how many times. Like, that's the same knee that Carly Judice landed this past weekend. Like, dude, that was so like he was waiting for Bo Nickel to throw that punch almost. He knew Bo Nickel was out of reach, but he knew that he could reach Bo Nickel to the body with that knee. It was a perfect setup. Such a clean knockout, man. And yeah, he's got a lot of fan buy-in now. So he's dangerous as could be. Always going to finish. I will say the biggest thing that is holding me back a little bit is the Malikan fights that he's lost, which are his only 2 losses in his career. Like, and I know Malikan is a big guy or whatever, and a lot of people will say, well, hey, he was really a heavyweight. If you understand one's weight cutting criteria and all these things. But once Rainier de Ritter faced a little bit of adversity in those fights, he kind of quit. The biggest thing for me is I am kind of with you in terms of, does Rob still have that fire to kind of fight through that stuff? I would say if he's coming in on like a pretty big win streak or whatever the case may be, I would say probably not. But I think after that Hamzat fight, I think Rob's going to have something to prove, man. I do think that Rob is. I think if he survives the storm early and stuffs the takedowns, because we've seen RDR striking, like his striking is okay, but he's kind of a little bit reckless. Where obviously Robert Whittaker is a little bit, much more the technical fighter. I think Robert Whittaker gets it done. I'm going to say third round TKO. I think it ends up being a pretty fun scrap. I think good scramble fest. I think Robert Whittaker is going to know what to expect when it comes to the grappling. And I think it lands his signature 1-2 head kick, rocks Renier de Ritter, and gets the job done in the third round. So let's go third round KO for Robert Whittaker.
Fair enough. Me and D-Rose split on the main event once again this week. But I have notoriously been terrible at picking like the main events forever now. So I don't really have too much confidence in it. I could see Rob winning. I wouldn't hate it if Rob won. But that's going to be all the picks for all of the fights on the card. I think Rob finished them too. Fourth round, massive step up for RDR. Fair enough. So D-Rose, our different picks this week are Muhammad Yahya versus Steve Nguyen, Tabitha Ricci versus Amanda Hebus, Nikita Krylov versus Bogdan Guskov, Jose Ochoa versus Asu Amabayev, Marcus McGee versus Piotr Yan, and the main event RDR versus the Reaper, Robert Whittaker. You have to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6 different ones, so you can throw off 3 of them, man.
It's crazy that we got that many. I didn't even realize we had that many. Had that many ones. So here's the ones that we'll keep. We will keep Peter Yan versus Marcus McGee. I want to make sure we keep that one. We'll keep Bogdan versus Nikita Krylov. We'll keep that, and then let's keep Asu Amabayev versus Jose Ochoa.
All right. Backup. Yaya versus Nguyen, Ricci versus Hebus, or the main event.
Let's go main.
All right. So that's the backup. All right. So, man, those are 2 that I don't feel great about, to be honest. I like Jose Ochoa. The other 2, I'm like, oh no. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I'm sketchy on all of them except for Peter Yan. I felt pretty good about that, but the Asu Amabayev and the Bogdan one, those are the ones that scare me. But that's what makes it fun. Going into the weekend, not really feeling sure which way it could go. That's what makes the weekend fun with Big Jam.
Which just leaves one thing left. We already kind of talked about it. Are we going to agree that the fisting of the week will be Carlos Leal to fist Muslim Salikov?
Yes. Yes, we will agree. That's fisting of the week pretty. I don't want to say pretty easily because Muslim Salikov is tough, but Leal's a dog, man. That dude's a beast.
Yeah, man. All right, so we'll see if we can keep the fisting of the week rolling, dude. That shit's been cashing. It's just been cashing.
A couple dogs. I know you seemed like you were a little concerned with Gautier last week because I was so bullish on him, but glad
it was the number for me. Like it was like fucking minus 250. So I was like, is it really a fucking like? I mean, it's like hard to bet.
Right? Yeah. But I mean, Dulatov was the second biggest favorite on the card. So I mean, yeah, he ended up being a pretty big favorite too. But either way, here we're in agreement here with Leal getting it done by KO early in the fight.
Fair enough. We got Antoine. Before we go, how's life been treating y'all? Congrats, man, on the move. Yeah, I'm just getting shit together, man. I'm packing, cleaning. I have stuff to do before I list my house on the market, man. So lots of stuff to do for me. How about you, Dearest?
No, life's been good, man. Just trying to get stuff straight, trying to sell some cars, trying to, but I was obviously trying to spend time with the family and relax and stuff as well. So, just that balance, man. But life's been good, man.
Also, does Marcus McGee get a title shot if he wins? If he beats Pierre Yan, it wouldn't surprise me. If Marab beats Corey and he gets to win this weekend, it wouldn't surprise me if he got a title shot.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be crazy, especially if Marab is to beat Corey. Now, if Corey beats Marab, I think there's a very good chance they end up running that one back. And then
for sure.
Marcus McGee got to take another fight. But it's all going to depend on what Marab and Corey does. But if Marab wins and Marcus McGee wins, I mean, it could be a fresh opponent for Marab who he hasn't faced.
Do you guys think they put another title fight in Abu Dhabi? I think at some point, probably. Are the Bears still around there?
Yeah, still roaming. Not in my yard because I haven't been having trash out there for a while. But yeah, the Bears still around. Apparently, they were running around in someone's yard at like 8 a.m. the other day. So yeah, I gotta keep my head on a swivel when I'm going out here to my car in the morning.
Yeah, are you going to any Wizards? Nope, Antoine. Hopefully I will not be in the area by the time, but maybe a few Spurs games by the end.
Your boy Wemby.
All right, D-Rose. Anything before we get out of here, man?
No, man. Just good show today, and going to go grab me some dinner. I'm going up in the air, depending on if I'm gonna get Domino's or not. But I think that's gonna be the call.
Yeah. What kind of turn down the money because you want to be a company man? I don't know. I think he just knows the risk that he takes when he fucking steps in there to a fight. You signed a contract. Don't be coming back in 10 years saying I didn't get paid enough. Well, why did you fight? Why did you sign the contract and fight?
Well, and it's not like it was like earth-shattering money. Like he was still going to have his UFC contract and fight.
Like it's like one fight for him.
Yeah, exactly. He's gotten himself to the point now to where $200,000 for him is nothing. Like, I don't want to say it's nothing because obviously it would help, but with his involvement with Bitcoin, his ads,
he got a full million from Islam, like an Islam fight.
Exactly. Like, him taking the fight against Islam on short notice. So I'm sure he reworked his contract where he's getting paid handsomely now, and he's done a good job of building himself up. So, I mean, could he have taken it? Sure. If it's like a couple mil and he turned it down, then I'm gonna be like, okay, like what was you doing? But don't burn the bridge with the employer that he has because it set up good opportunities for him so far, and he wants to keep that relationship. And people don't want to look at it in that sense because they want to call more kind of a company man, but he's keeping a good relationship with the company that set him up so far and could potentially continue to set him up in the future if he plays his cards right.
Yeah, I saw that where like fucking Diego Sanchez was in trouble for like fucking gun charges, but I just now Googled it, like, and he said that he got out of jail last night. He started shooting out of a car at 5 a.m. for no reason. Yeah, don't really surprise me too much, to be honest. Like, he was one of those guys. It's just like
you knew he was a head case, and you were gonna be worried about him when he retired.
Yeah. But that's going to be it for today's show, you guys. We appreciate you guys stopping by here, hanging out with us over here on the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast here today. If you haven't already, please do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not subscribed yet, you just listened to a whole 2-hour podcast and not even subscribed to the channel. What on earth are you doing? That don't even make sense. We appreciate you for stopping by and watching this, though. Share this with anyone that you think might enjoy this podcast as well. Anyone interested in UFC picks, anything like that. We appreciate you guys for stopping by here, hanging out with us here tonight. BJ or Diego? I have to go BJ. And with that being said, my name is Matt D-Rose on that side of your screen, and we will catch you guys next week for the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. Catch you guys later. Peace.